Welcome to Star Watch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Imagine being adored by millions, then hated by the same millions overnight. Imagine being blamed for something you never did, disappearing into silence, while the world watches and judges. This is not fiction. This is the true, powerful, heartbreaking, and inspiring story of Xiao Zhan, China's unlikely superstar. And today, on Up to Text 24H, we invite you on a journey not just through his rise to fame, but through the storms that nearly broke him, and the resilience that brought him back. Let us begin not with fame or scandal, but with a quiet boy. Born on October 5, 1991, in the bustling city of Chongqing, Xiao Zhan did not grow up in privilege or stardom. He grew up in something far more demanding, a household ruled by discipline, tradition, and silence. His father, a strict man of the old ways, didn't believe in praise. There were no bedtime stories, no indulgent rewards. Instead, there were rules, routines, expectations. By the time Xiao Zhan could hold a brush, he was already enrolled in Chinese calligraphy. By age 7, he was playing the violin, not out of joy but out of duty. He was also pushed to study chess, painting, and ink art. And if he ever resisted, there were consequences. As he once said in a rare interview, "My father didn't hesitate to discipline me. I was hit, not out of cruelty, but because he believed it was necessary." While other children laughed and played, Xiao Zhan learned stillness. He learned to bow, to listen, to hold his emotions like water in a cup, never spilling, never shaking. But here's what his father couldn't have predicted. In that silence, in that pressure, a quiet fire was building. He didn't yet know how to dream, but he was learning how to endure, how to focus, how to work harder than anyone else in the room, even when no one was watching. He didn't crave applause. He didn't imagine a stage, but he was unknowingly preparing for it every single day. His teachers described him as well-mannered, shy, and meticulous. He would rather draw in a notebook for hours than speak in class. He was not a child chasing attention. He was a young man being sculpted in silence, like marble before it becomes art. And perhaps that's the most beautiful irony of all. Before the lights found Xiao Zhan, he had already built a light inside himself. It wasn't fame that found Xiao Zhan. It was a simple phone call. In 2015, long after he had graduated with a degree in design from Modern International Art Design Academy of Chongqing Technology and Business University, Xiao Zhan was already working quietly in a graphic design studio. He was content. He wore simple clothes. He took the subway. And in his free time, he still loved to sing, just for himself. Then one day, a teacher from his old school asked, "Would you like to try something new? Something bigger?" Without fully understanding, Xiao Zhan said yes. He packed his things and traveled to Beijing for a show called X-Fire, a survival-style talent competition. He had no idea he had just entered one of the most cutthroat arenas in the Chinese entertainment industry. He had never danced professionally. He had never trained as a singer. He had never stood under studio lights. And yet he endured. Each day began before sunrise and ended past midnight. He would practice until his toes bled, until his knees swelled, until he couldn't remember the last time he slept more than 2 hours. He lost weight. He lost a toenail. He nearly lost hope. But there's something you must understand about Xiao Zhan. He doesn't quit. While other contestants argued or cried or broke down, he stayed silent. When he failed, he took notes. When he was told to dance again, he bowed and said, "Yes, again." He wasn't the most talented, but he was the most determined. He wasn't trying to be famous. He was simply doing his best at something he didn't fully understand, because that was how he was raised. And slowly, quietly, something incredible began to happen. The judges noticed. The audience noticed. China noticed. He debuted with the boy group X9, and though their early fame was modest, Xiao Zhan was no longer invisible. He was a seed finally cracking open. And just like that, the boy who never dreamed of being an idol was now walking his first steps toward stardom. Sometimes, a single role can transform a life forever. For Xiao Zhan, that role was Wei Wuxian in the hit Chinese fantasy drama, The Untamed, 2019. Before this, Xiao Zhan was a hard-working actor, still trying to carve out his place in the vast entertainment world. But when he was cast as Wei Wuxian, everything changed. He was stepping into the shoes of a complex character, a mischievous, charismatic, and deeply emotional man who navigates a dark and magical world. The pressure was enormous. This wasn't just any role. It was the lead role in a drama based on a beloved novel by Mo Xiang Tong Xiao, a story with millions of passionate fans. Expectations were sky-high. Xiao Zhan himself admitted that he hadn't read the book before auditioning, but he studied the script with a fierce dedication, memorizing lines, studying every nuance of his character, and working closely with the director John Ka Lam to bring Wei Wuxian to life. Filming was grueling. Over 900 scenes, complex lines, scenes shot in harsh weather and under intense time pressure. The Hong Kong-based director demanded instant reactions and deep emotional commitment, even when other actors weren't present for the scene. Xiao Zhan was transformed, not just into Wei Wuxian on screen, but into a man who bore the weight of the character's burdens off-screen. Colleagues noticed a change. The once lively and talkative Xiao Zhan grew quieter, more introspective, almost shy. It was his way of coping with the overwhelming pressure of the role and the attention it brought. The result? The Untamed became a cultural phenomenon. By December 2021, it had amassed over 10 billion views, a staggering number that few shows achieve. Xiao Zhan's portrayal earned him awards and widespread acclaim, making him one of the most beloved stars in China. But behind the fame was a young man shaped by discipline and hard work, never forgetting the silent lessons from his childhood. The boy who once practiced calligraphy and endured strict parenting was now standing in front of the world's gaze, graceful, strong, and unbreakable. This was the role that launched Xiao Zhan into superstardom. And the story was only just beginning. Fame can be a double-edged sword, especially in the fierce world of Chinese entertainment. For Xiao Zhan, 2020 brought the darkest chapter of his career, the 227 incident. It all began with a fan fiction story titled Falling posted online, depicting a romantic relationship between Xiao Zhan's character Wei Wuxian and his co-star Wang Yibo's character from The Untamed. The story portrayed the characters in ways some fans found controversial. Soon, this fan fiction was reported to Chinese internet authorities as illegal content involving minors, sparking a swift crackdown. Platforms hosting the fan fiction were shut down within days. But the backlash didn't stop there. A faction of Xiao Zhan's own fans engaged in aggressive behavior, targeting critics, harassing brands, and stirring social media chaos. This escalated into a massive public outcry. Millions of people, free speech activists, and consumers rallied against the star, calling for boycotts of brands he endorsed such as Estée Lauder, Piaget, and Keelan. The backlash was intense. Customer service hotlines were overwhelmed with complaints. Some brands cut ties, worried about their image and sales. Xiao Zhan and his management issued apologies, trying to calm the storm. But the damage was done. For nearly a year, Xiao Zhan retreated from the public eye, staying silent as rumors swirled and his career seemed at risk of collapse. But beneath the silence was a man with unyielding resilience. Despite the pressure, he focused on self-improvement, training harder, preparing for his comeback with patience and humility. His story became more than just a rise and fall. It was a lesson in perseverance, humility, and the unpredictable nature of fame. The 227 incident was not just a scandal. It was a pivotal moment that tested everything Xiao Zhan stood for. After the storm of the 227 incident, many believed Xiao Zhan's career was finished. But the truth was far from it. Xiao Zhan chose to step back, not to hide, but to rebuild, quietly, patiently, and with relentless dedication. During his hiatus, he didn't just wait for opportunities, he worked harder than ever. He took intensive acting classes, refined his dance skills, and focused on his physical health, maintaining a strict diet and regular exercise. He even developed a new appreciation for the behind-the-scenes craft, hinting at future ambitions beyond acting. When he returned to the screen, it was with a fresh intensity that impressed fans and critics alike. He starred in dramas like The Oath of Love and The Longest Promise, showing not only his acting growth but also a maturity forged through hardship. Xiao Zhan's commitment to his craft became legendary. On set, he often lived with makeup and production teams just to save time and memorize lines, proving that success is never accidental. He endured freezing temperatures, grueling stunts, and long nights without complaint. His professionalism and humility won over even the toughest critics. This comeback wasn't just about regaining fame. It was about proving to himself and the world that discipline, perseverance, and passion are the true paths to lasting success. Xiao Zhan's story reminds us that behind the glamorous curtain of celebrity lies a human being, flawed, struggling, but unbreakable. Xiao Zhan's charm isn't just in his looks. It's in his demeanor. He's respectful, private, calm. He takes care of his mother, writes handwritten letters to fans, and reads classic literature. For many women over 56, like those watching right now, Xiao Zhan represents something deeper. A man who listens more than he speaks, who learns before he performs, and who has grace in defeat, as much as he has humility in success. Today, Xiao Zhan is more than an actor. He's a national icon. He's worked with brands like Gucci, Zenith, and Tod's. He starred in successful dramas like The Youth Memories, Where Dreams Begin, and is preparing for new releases that fans wait for with bated breath. But for many, Xiao Zhan is not just a celebrity. He is a story of rising, falling, and choosing to rise again. If you've ever been misunderstood, if you've ever been judged unfairly, or started again when the world told you to quit, you'll understand why Xiao Zhan's story speaks louder than any song or drama. Because this is not about fame. This is about human dignity and the quiet, powerful strength of a person who never gave up. Thank you for watching this video on UpToTech's 24H. If Xiao Zhan's journey moved you, please subscribe to our channel for more deep stories behind the fame. Speech balloon and let us know in the comments. Which moment in Xiao Zhan's story inspired you the most? We read every comment, and we would love to hear from you. Backhand index pointing right. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and keep your heart open for stories just like this.